Hi everybody. So I figured, because at first I wasn't going to talk about it, but after hearing finally the response that China Mac gave to Charlston White, I kind of figured, you know what, I do want to talk about this topic. Mainly because my children are half Asian, and I really do feel like I give him a lot of props. I give China Mac a lot of props with how he handled the situation, because the fact that he didn't even address Charlston White's name was great. I thought that was really good. And then everything that he was saying in there was very factual. I kind of feel like there was a lot of things that he said within that Instagram Live that mirror a lot of the things that I've said on my channel, where it's like when I see people going back and forth, minority groups going back and forth online, that I question that a lot, and that I question people behind these accounts and stuff like that. It's very similar to what he said about us, being used as pawns against each other. And I've been said stuff like that from the beginning of my channel. So I also wanted to have my husband speak on it a little bit. So what do you think about the whole thing? And how he reacted? Basically what Charlston White said. And before I even continue, what I do want to make a point of is that both my husband and I know, and I'm pretty positive that even China Mac knows, that these are not the sentiments of even the majority of Black American people. We know that already. We have common sense. Okay? So I wanted to make that very clear before we, continue on with the video. So you can go ahead, babe, if you...
Doing a video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, speaking. Well, just speaking.
I think China Mac had a very good point of why the disdain for Asian people on this level all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Are people being used as propaganda to push a narrative? And that makes a lot of sense, especially with what's going on politically that most of us don't have nothing to do with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like regular citizens, average people, people making a living. And I think this while I definitely give China Mac his credit. And I think, you can see where China Mac may be lacking in some of his vocabulary or in his expression, because what it really is the weaponization of minorities against minorities that people don't understand. Because people are so quick to say, yeah, go rape those Asian women. Go, what the hell it was? Go rape those babies or something? I don't remember exactly what it was, but, who condones that?
Right.
Who condones that? And who wants their community to be full of pedophiles and rapists?
Right. And the other thing that I wanted to get into, and I'm glad that you made that point, because it reminded me. You had mentioned to me, and I didn't know this, that Charlston White has a history of being abused, right? Or something like that.
Yes,
and then
came to light about that.
So, let me reiterate before I continue. This does not mean, when I speak about people being abused on this channel, this is for people in the back. There's a lot of people in the back. There's some people in the front that really belong in the back. I will say that this doesn't mean that when I speak about people who have been through abuse, that they have the right to go ahead and abuse people in the future when they grow up, right? This doesn't mean that I condone systemic abuse. All right. However, in order to address a problem, you have to get to the root of a problem. Okay. So I'm mentioning this stuff about him being abused because that kind of says a lot about his character right now. And I'm speaking of somebody who's I also have a history of abuse. Okay. I have been abused when I was a child. Okay. I don't speak about that to the fullest extent on this channel because I don't feel like it. Maybe I will one day. I'm not afraid to. But there's a lot to be said with trauma and how these things affect people with how they grow up and how they interact with people in their adulthood. And just straight up going to therapy, because everybody has that as an answer, even though those very same people that are telling other people to go to therapy, those people haven't gone to therapy themselves. And I can tell by how they react to things and just quote unquote to get over things. That's not the way you solve trauma. A therapist doesn't tell somebody in therapy, oh, you need to just get over it. I would know. I've been to therapy a few times. I would like to go a few more times. But I'm using these things as a case because if this man hasn't been to therapy, all he's doing is perpetuating the violence that he's been
you can tell
through.
that. You can tell that.
Right. In his language and how he's treating other people. And then on top of that,
people that's in the comment section, people that be following,
and they also have been through, they also have been through their own violence. They've also have their own levels of trauma that have been unhealed. And I could tell by the way people comment and by the way some people speak on channels that they don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to trauma. All right? Our communities have a lot of trauma. The Asian community also has their trauma, but I'm not going to lie. When it comes to abuse, like sexual abuse, and the fact that he was so free to speak on that, and the fact that there's people that are willing to condone what he's saying, goes to show you that they have their levels of trauma too, and they probably have grown up to be pedophiles, rapists, you know what I mean? Or they condone those things. Or they're pedophile apologists. I don't even want to get into that because our communities do nothing but high trauma. So anyhow, I do believe that Asians are used as a punching bag. And because, I think for the most part as a group, people believe you guys to be
we're
meek
weaponized.
or whatever.
We're weaponized because take away this, fuck you call that shit.
No, you guys are fighting back now.
No, take away the popular culture piece of it, right? Because people don't understand the weaponization part. Because Asians do not control policy.
Exactly.
Who control policy? You want to look at your political system. You want to look at your banking infrastructure because who's giving the loans out for people to start businesses and where do they allow them to?
Exactly.
Why are they not giving the same type of loans to black people?
Right.
People do not understand that. There's some fucked up voodoo shit, some fucked up magic involved in this that people do not recognize.
Yeah,
I'm calling it magic because there's so many layers to this to just peel away.
I wouldn't be you know how I feel about that juju stuff.
As a magic, because look how people get impacted.
Yes.
Look at how people get affected, and they don't even know why.
Yes.
Right? Because they pit us against each other, and people now we're going at each other's throats, but we're not even solving what the fuck is the problem.
Right,
because the problem doesn't stem from any one of our groups.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And, I think the infighting is a good distraction. And the fact that there is so much infighting, that does a lot for the people on top. That everybody knows that, But at the very same time, while I say that, this doesn't mean that I believe that people who have gone through things, that it's okay for them to become full-blown adults, not take accountability for the things that they've gone through, and then go ahead and lash out on other people. I want to make that very clear.
That's never okay. That's
never
normal.
Okay. Right. It's not normal. It's not normal.
And if you think it is, you ain't normal.
Right. And if you think that just because somebody's been abused, that they always go around abusing people when they grow up, that's not true either, because I am a case study of that. I didn't go around, as a grown-up, going around abusing people, even though I've been through pure hell. I didn't do that. And I know plenty of other people who have also had a really traumatic past that also didn't grow up and use that as an excuse to abuse other people. All right? But at the very same time, that is a real condition, and those things do happen. So the root of the problems need to be addressed. I hope that made sense. Did that make sense?
That makes sense. Try to address. China Mac was making fun of like what people are disdain about because it doesn't make sense. You mad about not getting extra duck sauce? It costs extra money, so of course they're going to charge you some extra money.
That was hilarious.
They charge you extra because, let's say it's at the next one, because your toes is too funky or something like that.
That was hilarious.
Right? That was really
hilarious.
Really funny.
It was gross,
but my mom worked in the nail business, so I know about it because it goes beyond what you guys don't see, or when people are nasty with Asians.
And that's the thing, they have seen it. And if they say that they've never seen it, they're lying. They're lying.
Anger.
Because I always used to get my nails done, especially in my teens and in my 20s. That was my thing. I was always getting my nails done. They were always on the shorter side. I always had French manicure. I was always getting my nails done and my toes done. And I would see it quite often that the customers, both Latin, I'm including my people because I saw it from my people too, and Black Americans and Caribbeans, or, you know, people of color that live in the hood, I would see them getting like really aggressive and really violent towards the workers, whether it's because they didn't want to pay or because they didn't like the way
they didn't want to pay.
They or because they didn't like the way a design. They'll complain about the way a design came out, or they would mess up their own nails sometimes, and then they would get mad at the worker as opposed to getting mad at themselves. Things like that. I saw those things firsthand. So then when I kind of see people like the Asian people doing stuff now to other people, I think it's wrong too, because I have seen the reverse where some of the Asian people are not nice, right? I've seen that too. But oftentimes when they're not nice, it's a response right. It's the response to what got them there. And from what I've seen, and even when I was a little girl, my mother always used to get her nails done. So you're talking about from when I was a little girl, when I used to go with my mom for her to get her nails done. And then when I was all the way up to my adulthood, when I was getting my nails done, for a very long time, I saw the treatment of Asian people. You're talking about when my mother used to get her nails done, that was all the way back in the 80s. Okay? And I used to see how aggressive, how they would curse, they would scream, they would get in people's faces, they would go to they would act like they were going to hit the worker, you know what I'm saying? And I saw all of that as a little girl, and I saw things like that as an adult. I never went through any bad experiences like that ever getting my nails done. The people always loved me. People are always nice to me. I never had issues like that. If I didn't like the way my nails came out at a salon, I would just go to the salon across the street. Because that's how many of them there were at the time. So it wasn't that big of a thing to me where it was like, oh my God, if I don't like the way they came out, I'm going to fight you and I'm going to argue with you and I'm going to get in your face. No, you know. Just because I grew up in a hood environment, that didn't mean that I was acting ratchet. You know, like that just wasn't my personality, unless, you know, I was pushed to act like that. But no, you know, not for stuff like that. That's dumb. So anyhow, and I think that that's kind of the other thing. We need to speak about balance when it comes to things like that. And it's just a shame. It really is. You know, especially when he made the point about, I want to go back to the pawns thing, because in the end, that kind of really is what all of this is. Because even with everybody speaking, let's say, for example, about this as a topic, it is, you know, we are being used as pawns. We are going back and forth with each other. We are taking our attention away from bigger issues, and we're speaking on things like this. You know what I mean? And we do, you know, hurt each other a lot as groups. So I just wanted to make that as a point.
And then, you know, and then he took it to another level, though, you know, because China Mac was saying, we're not the one that enslaved your peoples.
That's right.
We're not the one that burned crosses. I don't think he said that, but we're not the one that
hung
your
you.
community,
Yeah, that hung you. Yeah, he
that
said
put you in jail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why the anger?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So out of all this transaction, who's gotten... If you want to talk about getting physically hurt, who's been getting physically hurt? If you want to talk about between black and Asians aren't the ones going out there robbing people.
Yeah.
They rob people.
Yeah. But I do also believe, you know, one of the things that he said, you know, in politics, I think that that's really what it is about, you know, because people have, you know, their feelings towards China, because now China is becoming a powerhouse. Right. They're on the rise. And I do think that that's the underlying issue with a lot of things. And that's how we're being used as the pawns. Yeah. Because if they can get more of our people against Asian people, why not? You know? And that's what I think that that's about.
And it's very similar, you know, this mentality stuff that's happening now, and it's happening on the subconscious level, and people are not recognizing it, is really similar to white fragility.
Yeah.
This is American fragility.
Facts.
Right?
Yep. Oh, we don't want to get into American, because when it comes to that crosses all different colors.
Yo, and you know.
So all different colors of this country. So
you know, I work at an executive level, right? And I'm sort of involved in policy, right? And I'm also going back for my master's. I'm about to be finished with it, though.
Yep.
But you know, this whole American fragility thing. You think about the conjecture of we're the greatest.
Yep.
At what?
Yeah.
America is the greatest at putting people in jail and the sky-high price of healthcare.
Right.
That's what we're the greatest at. They ain't nothing we're the greatest at.
Right.
We're not the greatest at war. We're the greatest at starting trouble.
Yeah.
What war have we actually won? Did we win the Korean War? Did we win the Vietnam War? Did we win the war against terrorism?
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah.
People don't recognize that we're being weaponized against each other.
It is so true. It is so true. And, you know, I'm somebody that could even say this as, you know, what he's saying is absolute facts. And even though I'm somebody that's always been vocal about how I've seen coming up minority people be not so nice to Black Americans, I will always stand on that because I have seen that. I've seen that firsthand so many times in my life. And that's why I feel like I reiterate that and say that in a lot of my videos. And I've said that from the jump of my channel. I've said that from the very beginning. That is one thing that has always been consistent with me because that is an absolute fact. I have seen it firsthand. But even though I have seen that firsthand, I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like I haven't seen stuff aimed at foreign people. Okay? Because I have. But, you know, anyhow, I think that one of the main things that I would hope that people would take away from what China Mac said was the whole us being used as pawns. And that, to me, out of everything that he said, was what stood out the most to me. And I would hope that people would take that and really pay attention to that before they go online and say certain things, before they go online on right.
Opinion don't mean you're
right. Or even in the other case, the other case scenario, right, to use this as a means to attack Black American people. Right? That's the sad thing, because then things like this, what he did, the stupid things that this Charlston white guy said, are going to be used as a means because there's people out there that just do not like Black American people, and they're going to say, justifies why we don't like Black Americans because of this and this and this. Meanwhile, he's not speaking for the majority of Black American people.
Speaking for himself.
He's speaking for himself and for whatever dummies follow him. That's who he's speaking for. Whoever agrees with that rhetoric, that's who he's speaking for. Because not once in my life have I ever met a Black American person that would ever say anything like that or would agree to anything like that. Even if some of them have said some crazy things, I've never ever heard anything like that in my life from a Black American person. So I just wanted to also reiterate that too. So. Yeah. I think that's about it for me. I don't know what else.
You know, the other issue is this guy's trauma. He's lived a life full of trauma.
Charleston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't... but you know what's funny?
We always kind of go back to the same thing. That doesn't mean that it excuses what he does.
No, it does not excuse what he does, right? And
but
you know what's funny is this guy, China Mac, also went through a life of trauma. Minus, we don't know about it now. And I don't think he has any, but you never know when it comes out. If it does come out, the sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse, yeah.
Right? Now, I think as an upcoming therapist, I think Charleston White has a lot of issues he needs to address personally for himself. That's not for me to speak on, but that's for him to address, and that's a personal journey to get himself right. Yeah,
and that's so true. And you know, I think that that's something, unfortunately, within our Black and brown communities that happens so often. And if there's anybody who's going to come to my comment section or go on their channels and dispute it, you are a effing liar. Okay? Because that stuff is so prevalent. I cannot tell you growing up how many other Latin girls, how many other Black girls have come to me and tell me their stories of what they've gone through. Okay? I don't want to hear it. And now, as an adult, there's more men that are coming out and saying that they've been sexually abused. Yeah. And I am so proud of the men that come out and speak out against that and talk about what they've gone through. Yeah. I give them so much props for that because that is so hard. It is so hard to do. And I know for our community, it's so shunned upon. And then on top of that, what our community does, it paints those victims as gay, or as they wanted it, or they stuff like that.
The perpetrators are now the perpetrators remain as heroes. Right,
the perpetrators are, and then oh my God, it's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. We have a whole lot of issues that sometimes I feel like we don't have the right to be telling people and I'm speaking as a group. I'm not going to say me personally or my husband, and I'm saying that because he has a lot of professional background where he does have the right to speak on things. And I have a background myself where I also have the right to speak on things. But there's a lot of people in our group that don't have the right to speak on these things. There, I said it. I said it. You're not going to come to my channel as a pedophile apologist. No effing way. Not going to happen. And you're not going to come on here and say that that doesn't happen like that. You are a full-blown liar. Okay? Anyhow, I wanted to put that passion in there for a reason.
I feel the passion. People that need help need to get the right type of help.
Exactly.
Because you hanging out with your homeboy ain't going to tell you, what's the right thing to do.
Well, you know what the other thing is that there needs to be more access to the help. And there needs to be more affordability to the help. And this country needs to put that as a forefront.
But look, we all know that there's a big stigma against seeking treatment.
There's also...
Right? Because not for nothing. If we take it back to
I totally
the people
agree.
that we're talking about, this dude supposedly makes $20,000 a month just off of, I don't know, one of the social media accounts, right?
I know. And
so he got the access.
Yeah, he has the access. I'll go back again because not a lot of people are Charlston white, and most people are not making his money. So, especially black and brown people. So that's why I reiterate that there needs to be, more affordability when it comes to mental health, and I think that this country needs to put that as
depends on the state.
It does.
So insurance.
It does.
More insurance are covering mental health now. What they don't cover is the initial assessment that costs like $1,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which don't make no sense.
Yeah. Yep. So as you can see, with knowing the prices and stuff like that, and the fact that my husband is going to school to actually become a therapist, we know what we're talking about on this channel. I can't speak for other channels. We know what we're talking about on this channel. Okay? So it's not as easily accessible as people think. It really isn't. And it's not accessible, in my opinion. It's not accessible enough for the people who need it, for the minority groups that really need it. It's not. It really isn't. And I know people who have gone to therapy for a very long time, and the cost of it is outrageous. I've gone a couple of times. I want to go more, and I will be going more soon.
Most of them are about like $100.
But it's expensive. Yeah, it costs.
And that's not even a real, like if you got some serious problem and you need an assessment, that shit does not cover it.
And one thing I also want to reiterate that when you go to therapy, your therapist is not going to tell you to get over it. They're not going to tell you to get over your past. Right. That's why people that claim or tell other people to go to therapy and they say you need to go to therapy and get over it. That's how I know you yourself, with all that stuff coming out of your mouth, you yourself haven't gone to therapy, so you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And you're speaking from a place of privilege that you've never gone through certain things, and that's why you're speaking down on people that have gone through certain things.
Yeah, that's always fucked up.
Yep. But there's a lot of people that are like that. Oh, and then there's a lot of people that are like that who I don't even want to get into that. A lot of pedophile apologists out there. I don't even want to get into that. Anyhow, but I think that's about it for me. I think Charleston White, I think he's a total a-hole, and I think that China Mac checked him, and I think he did a great job. That's it. That's all I gotta really say. Stop fighting amongst each other. It really makes us look dumb. That's it. That's all I gotta say. Bye. See you guys in my next video.